Yes, hello, and welcome to the Fantasy Wildcard Dynasty Show, our second show of 2025. And there is the two of us tonight, the best two Mags. You've got Ali and Mags. James is away on holiday, loving it up, some exotic, far-sprung location. So you've just got me and Mags. And Mags, before we jump into tonight's topic, we have to talk about the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, the three-peat that didn't happen. Hopefully, you've got over it today because it's still fairly fresh. What did you make of it, and was there anything that you could enjoy of
it? Much better day today. Yesterday, I was just miserable. Had to record the last ever episode of the Wildcard Rewind as well, which was also very sad. Just a sad day, but I'm feeling more positive today. Watching, if you've not seen it, go have a look at the episode of First Things First over in America, where the host is a Kansas City Chiefs fan and had already planned a full three-peat celebration, and his co-hosts did it anyway. So that was quite funny to watch, and just people taking the loss in good humor. We got to go again. That's it. We got to go again. Didn't enjoy a second of the game. Not even Kendrick Lamar, I was saying to you before. I couldn't even enjoy his performance. So I had to rewatch it yesterday. It was slightly better upon second watch. But yeah, man, it was grim. It can't have even been that fun for you to watch it, right? What did you enjoy that? I don't know. It seemed like a big terrible game.
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, the amount of points, if you said before the game 62 points, I'd have thought, wow, I'm definitely going to sit back and enjoy this. But it just felt like after the first couple of possessions for each side, which was, I thought defenses were on top. As soon as the Kansas City Chiefs, just their D line started feasting on the O line for the Chiefs, it was a bit like Super Bowl 55 against the Buccaneers. Didn't want to have to bring that up, but it was almost like a repeat. Mahomes could not do anything. He was just pressured the whole time. Yeah, it wasn't very enjoyable. I must admit. You know, as a neutral, you just want to see a good game of football, a close game, and it was anything but that. So, apart from Xavier Worthy's sensational Super Bowl, there's some work to do for the Chiefs, but you're the Chiefs. You're going to be back there in 12 months' time. I've got absolutely no doubt about it. But we will be interesting to see Kelsey's decision, maybe, in the off-season.
Yeah.
And, yeah, you've got some work to do, but end of the day, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, they're going to be back there. No doubt about it. And
agreed.
Yeah, we'll stop talking about that, Mags. We're going to cheer you up with some Dynasty eyes tonight. Just before we jump into rookie season, there's a couple of weeks where we're going to be talking about our buys and our sells, because I think it's just as important for this time of year to get it right, because there's definitely opportunity here where there's some players, maybe with the thoughts of rookie fever, with the thoughts of how good the rookies were in 2025, in 2024, they're pushing some of these veterans down. So there is some values to be had. And without further ado, we'll talk about our quarterback buys, Mag. So over to you for your number one Dynasty off-season quarterback buy.
Well, when I was scrolling through looking for quarterback buys, something did catch my eye. This is not my buy, but Ali Deshaun Watson is currently quarterback 50. Quarterback 50 on keep trade cut, behind Dorian Thompson-Robinson and behind the, quite frankly, cuttable Cooper Rush. I mean, if you're looking for value, there's a free swing at the bat there, quarterback 50. But if you don't want to deal with that dirtbag, go all the way to the top. If you can, right now's the time. Go try and buy Josh Allen, for the love of God. This guy has been untouchable in Dynasty Fantasy Football, and it seems obvious. Oh yeah, man, go buy the number one guy. Like, obviously, you'd be surprised how little people try and do this. I've got not a huge amount of Josh Allen shares, but I've got some Josh Allen shares. I don't think I've ever received an offer for him. I don't think anyone's ever tried to buy him, because everybody just assumes that person's not going to sell Josh Allen. I'm here to tell you, go and try and get him at least. And it might be that there's no price, they don't want to move him. But I think it's worth going out, giving a go. Don't be afraid to give up an elite asset. Jaden Daniels, I think, is a perfect move right now. give up Jaden Daniels a little bit extra, get yourself Josh Allen, a much, much safer asset going forward. He is a bit older, but he's 29 years old. He's in his athletic prime, and we see these quarterbacks go on much, much longer. Go out, give it a go. Go see if you can get Josh Allen, because you will not regret it at all.
Yeah, and I think you've absolutely nailed it on the head when you spoke about Jaden Daniels. And I'm not going to say there's going to be the year 2 slump, similar to CJ Stroud, but I do think that a lot of people have Jaden Daniels ranked right up there with Josh Allen, if not ahead of him. I've seen him ahead in a couple of rankings as well. So that swap, especially if you're a contender, maybe you drafted Jaden Daniels last year, you maybe won the championship, you got into the final. If you just want to secure that, if you've got perhaps someone like Derrick Henry on, some older running backs, your window is now. Don't risk it with Jaden Daniels, because everyone thinks that he's going to be great, and he probably will be. But you just know in Josh Allen, you're going to get a top 3 quarterback season, regardless of what his weapons are. We've seen this year how bad his weapons were, and he still managed to finish right up there. So it's just a guarantee with Josh Allen outside of injury. I think Lamar Jackson, I think Jaden Daniels, I think they're right up there where you probably don't even have to put much, if any, on top of them to get to Josh Allen. So yeah, I love that idea. And someone at the opposite end of the spectrum to perhaps who I'm going to bring up, because I looked a bit deeper. And my quarterback was Dak Prescott down at quarterback 21. Yeah. It's just bizarre to me, and whether it's a Cowboys thing, whether it's just the struggles in 2024, but this guy is locked into his deal until 2028. So 2029 is when he's next to be a free agent. He's a guy that's in his 30s now, but he is locked into that team until 2028. So you've got him set and forget for the next 4 years. We look at the Cowboys offense. It was obviously pretty trash in 2024. The struggles were real. The defense was not very good to start the season when Dak Prescott was in. Basically just had the one weapon in CeeDee Lamb. The run game was terrible at the start of the season. Didn't really get going until the second half of the season.
Yeah.
Brandon Cooks was meant to be a veteran wide receiver 2. He was terrible. The tight end room completely regressed as well. And it's obviously led to them ringing changes at the head coach position with Brian Schottenheimer, the offensive coordinator, who they've not yet chosen, but I think is going to be imminent. Yeah. And I was like, wasn't it like 2 years ago where Dak Prescott was the quarterback 3? Yes, it was in 2023. He was right up there. He actually led the league in passing touchdowns. So
yeah.
And then I looked at who was his offensive coordinator that year. It was Brian Schottenheimer, who's now his head coach. So they've got that familiarity with the system. And I just think that the rumors are going around Dallas. Never can be quite certain of it, but they are strongly tipped to go offense early and often in the NFL draft this year. They've been mocked so many times with obviously Ashton Janty at running back in round 1. It would be a perfect situation. Luther Burden I've seen in round 1 as well. Someone I would really like to go there. Amik Egbuka as well. Someone that would fit into that wide receiver 2 role. Absolutely perfect alongside CeeDee Lamb. So I look at quarterback 21. I've got him at quarterback 16. So there's obviously a bit of value there. And the last time that Dak finished a whole season, he was the quarterback 3, he was the quarterback 8, and he's the quarterback 2. So this is a guy that if he finishes the season, he's going to be top 5, top 10 at worst, and you're getting him at quarterback 21. I just think there's so much value in that, Mags. What do you think about Dak at quarterback 21?
It's maybe the most obvious move to make right now in Dynasty fantasy football. Like, it is just a screaming value. A guy that always finishes as a quarterback 1 when he stays healthy, and you can get him at quarterback 21. It just is so easy. I've always described Dak Prescott as the ultimate QB2 for your team. I think maybe Jared Goff's sort of taken that role maybe the last couple of years, because Dak's been doing too well, like, to be considered that. He's outplayed that status. You can get him now as your late end QB2. He's easily going to give you those numbers. I think this is a slam dunk. If you can go buy Dak Prescott, go do it now. because this is maybe the cheapest he's ever going to be.
Yeah, there's definitely moves to be made. There's so many quarterbacks in that sort of quarterback 13, 14 down to quarterback 23, where I would easily pay up, obviously, if it's behind quarterback 21 for Dak, or I would easily drop down from quarterback 15, 16, the likes of Trevor Lawrence for Dak Prescott plus. I think that's an absolute no-brainer. So yeah, really like Dak Prescott and the Cowboys offense ascending into 2025. So we'll come on to, naturally, it's the running back position next, although not always advisable to buy running backs in the offseason, especially looking ahead to the 2025 running back class, which is deep and stacked at the top. So, Mags, is there anybody you've got your eye on for dynasty buys for the running back position?
Yeah, you said it. Don't buy anyone. Nobody. Don't touch him right now. All right. That issue is, you brought it up, this amazing 2025 group of running backs coming in. Ali, I think there are 5 guys right now who could walk into most running back rooms in the NFL and completely take over that backfield. You've got the aforementioned Ashton Jeanty in there, who's probably going to go to the Cowboys. Omarion Hampton is more than able to take over a backfield. So are the Ohio State duo of Trevion Henderson and Quinton Judkins. And don't sleep on Caleb Johnson either. Caleb Johnson is more than able to come in and take a backfield for himself. That's not even mentioning, like, some of these other guys, your Devin Neals, your Ollie Gordons, your Cam Scadaboo, who's obviously had a huge surge lately. These guys are going to come in and be serious disruptors to a backfield. So I would be so careful about buying a running back right now, because everything could change post-draft depending on what team goes for what running back. A lot of people sort of talking about guys like, Chase Brown and people who have really come out of the woodwork this year and been amazing. That can all go just like that with an elite talent coming in and using that situation. So right now, if I had to do gun to my head, who am I buying? Give me a flyer on Christian McCaffrey at running back 13. I mean, if that guy plays, he's elite. So I would say him, and it's unlikely that, even if they drafted Trevion Henderson, he's good, but he's not as good as Christian McCaffrey. So that I'd be more inclined to go with that elite talent that you can get on the cheap. But right now, I'm doing nothing with running back until the draft.
Yeah, agreed. And I think the exercise is difficult with running back because I think it's very much roster dependent. So there's quite a few veteran running backs that I would actually trade for, like Derrick Henry. I think Alvin Kamara is a good value. I think James Conner will give you another really good season. So these ones are a bit obvious. So for mine, I thought I would try and find a guy that sort of nobody's really talking about that really had a good 2024 season. I think is in a good position to succeed again, if not better, his 2024 season. So I've gone for Chuba Hubbard. I'll be 15. So, in terms of value, I think it's probably about where he should be. But yeah, he was the RB 14 in points, RB 13 in points per game at 16.1. He showed that he could carry a workload, so 250 carries, 1,195 yards, 10 rushing touchdowns, another 43 receptions and a receiving touchdown. So that to me was really impressive on a Carolina Panthers offense that was absolutely awful. They benched Bryce Young halfway through the season. He actually came back and actually looked good towards the end of the season. With that, Chuba was their offense the first half of the season and earned himself that 4-year contract. That half of it's guaranteed. It's essentially a 2-year, $16 million contract, but he's locked in there for the next 2 years. And by this time, sort of last offseason, we were thinking that poor Jonathan Brooks would be the guy to take over and possibly be elite because he was sort of the top running back in last year's class, but obviously re-injured the same ACL, which saw him out for over a year. So that means I can't see him being back for the 2025 season at all. So that just leaves Chuba to continue his work on. For me, will be an ascending offense. You've got to think that Dave Canales come in and in year one did turn this offense around a little bit towards the end of the season, and obviously Bryce Young going into year two looked great ending the 2024 season. And yeah, so RB15, I don't think there's massive value there, but he's someone that I think that he's unfashionable running back to own. Like, you don't see many people as having Chuba Hubbard as sort of a top 2 running back on their roster and being like, look at my roster, it's great. But actually, if he was a top 2 running back on my roster, I'd be happy with it. So I just think that the time to possibly buy Chuba Hubbard will be towards the closer to the rookie drafts, where people are really overvaluing them second round picks. And if I could offer a second round pick, maybe a second and a third, even a second and a future second, for Chuba Hubbard, for a guy that could be finishes an RB1 in 2025, that's something that I'm looking to do. But I think, Mags, the thing is, running backs is a very dicey position to be in. You could be happy with your roster right now. As you mentioned, Chase Brown is someone that won so many people leagues in 2024. But would you be surprised if the Bengals went running back early, or perhaps round 2, someone like Marvin Hampton came in? It would not surprise me, and it would just destroy Chase Brown, or from where he is right now, because he's locked in there as like an RB top 8 running back right now.
Omarion Hampton eats Chase Brown's lunch money. Like, that is not even a competition. Like, between those two, Chase Brown's had a really good season, but I mean, Omarion Hampton is a different level. I thought really to quote the great Kev White, you're a smart guy, Ali, because that's a really good pick there with Chuba Hubbard. The Panthers unlikely to go after another high-end running back after what happened last year. They still have Jonathan Brooks on the books as well, so that is a really good person to go out and try and target right next to your rookie drafts. You're right, because I don't see the Panthers taking one of those elite guys that we spoke about. They've got too many other holes to fill, and Chuba has shown that he's good enough to fill that role. They'll probably pick up some kind of free agent, someone coming in to do a job like a Kareem Hunt or something like that, like the Chiefs did this year, and Chuba will still be the guy. So I guess really smart decision.
Yeah, I think there's very few running backs I look at that I think there's some value to get there. I'm going to send an offer over, but Chuba Hubbard is one where I'd be happy to do that, either now or towards the rookie draft.
Yep.
So we'll move on to the Dynasty wide receiver buys, where there's definitely going to be some more interest. So when you were looking at the wide receiver position, Mags, was there a wide receiver standing out to you where you thought that's got to be some value there?
Yeah, it's the best wide receiver prospect I've ever seen in my life, and it's not even close. It's Marvin Harrison Jr. He is currently going at wide receiver 11. I think a lot of people made a bold claim that he would almost certainly be going as like wide receiver 1 or 2 at this stage into his career, because that's how good he is. Marvin Harrison Jr., despite what has happened over there at the Cardinals, he's too good. And people are going to clip this probably next year when he was trashing it. I think he's too big to fail. I think he's too good to fail. He's too good a player. He's too talented. He does everything too well for him not to be a game changer at wide receiver for your Dynasty Fantasy football teams. I think he's too good. So if I can come in now and buy him at wide receiver 11 behind guys that, he's more talented than anyway going forward. I mean, where was the debate? Was there any debate between Marvin Harrison and Brian Thomas Jr. whenever they were coming out as rookies? There was no debate. It was Marvin Harrison Jr. with a bullet. It wasn't even close. So if we see him live up to that potential, you've got a guy that everyone consensusly believed was better than Brian Thomas Jr. in every single way. And how goddamn good is Brian Thomas Jr.? Think about the ceiling, for Marvin Harrison Jr. if he pulls everything together. So the price is still going to be up there, but I still do think it's worth it to get a guy that's that elite, and just hopefully the Cardinals can figure out a way to use this guy, because they're really missing out.
Yeah, they are. And I think that's smart. Wide receiver 11, I did not see him dropping as far as this, no matter how bad it looked. No. And they have to figure out, because they wait, they used a really high draft pick on Marvin Harrison Jr. and he is that good of a prospect. You have to believe that they figure it out. And as you mentioned, he was a much better prospect in my eyes as well than Brian Thomas Jr. But I think right now you're seeing Brian Thomas Jr. ranked top 6, top 7 in dynasty rankings for wide receiver, sometimes even higher. So I wonder whether there's, I absolutely love Brian Thomas Jr. I don't really love Trevor Lawrence. Is there, how much can you get on top of, trading away Brian Thomas Jr. for Marvin Harrison Jr.? You can probably get quite a decent plus on top of that right now, because Marvin Harrison Jr. is pretty unfashionable on that Cardinals offense. And I just know, Mags, this is going to be a rhetorical question, but I look at a lot of people's rankings and you see Drake London as a top 10 wide receiver, dynasty wide receiver. I'm guessing you'd be moving Drake London straight up for Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, give me Marvin. Although my whole Drake London thing was very much, I did not see him and Kirk Cousins working well together. Let's be honest, Ollie, I was proven right. He was wide receiver 21 in points per game in the season, and Kirk Cousins played so badly that he was dropped. So I'm happy to draw a line on it there. Drake London and Michael Penix, however, sign me up, because that's what Drake London's all about. That kind of play style where it is chucking that ball a little bit deeper, using his athletic talents to go up and get those jump balls. Michael Penix loves that. If they can use him like they used Rome Odunze, then he's looking like he could sneak into like my top 12 dynasty wide receivers, top 10 even. But we kind of have to see it. We've seen a snippet in week 18, and that's why he has moved up into that top 10. So the future is a lot brighter for Drake London, I believe, going into next year. But I'd still take Marvin Harrison Jr. ahead of him just because he is that special a prospect.
I'm just penciling you in for your 2025 flag plant, Drake London for Mags. Right, I've done that.
Think of the views, Ali. That would be that. Break the internet.
They're going to think that that's completely clickbait after you ranting about him all year.
Yeah, and then I can unplant from who got Dalton Kincaid, right? I'll just do a complete flip.
I'd hope you've done that already, Mags, so I'm sure you have. We're going to talk about someone that not many people have been talking about in 2024. A rookie that got first-round draft capital in Ricky Pearsall, who's wide receiver 35 on Keep Trade Cut, and I just think that is too low. I understand from some people's point of view, they've not really seen the finished article. It's a projection going forward, but I've got a bold prediction right now that he's going to be a top 20 wide receiver in Dynasty by the end of the season. That is taken into account all the rookies that are coming in this year. I just think that what was the argument against Pearsall in 2024? It was the depth chart, right? Because he was behind three good wide receivers. Juwan Jennings signed a new deal, and he looked really good. But now, fast forward into 2025, that's gone now. The depth chart is pretty decimated. You look at Deebo Samuel, he's just been granted a trade away, so he's not going to be on the 49ers. Brandon Ayuk, he's coming off a major injury, the ACL tear. So when is he going to be back? How healthy is he going to be? George Kittle, he done really well this year, but he's going to be 32 years old. So how many years has he got left? And then Juwan Jennings, who I mentioned, signed that 2-year deal, played well in year one, but he's going to be entering his final year of his deal in 2025. So I think there's such an opportunity for Ricky Pearsall, who they obviously put first round draft capital into. And looked at, perhaps why he struggled in 2024. The guy was actually, he was shot. There's too many NFL players that are getting shot these days. And he was shot on August 31st, which is not ideal, with the season starting in September. So, miraculously, he was shot in the chest, I think, and 50 days later, he was back on an NFL field. Probably not at the peak of his powers 100% after that. But, I just think him being ranked as a low wide receiver 3 was obviously the inconsistencies that he showed, it was evident. He had a big game. He followed up with some stinkers, but it might have just been the offense. The offense didn't click. Obviously, the 49ers missed the playoffs. They weren't great this year. But then I looked at the final 2 games of the season, and I really liked what I saw. There was 18 targets, 14 receptions, 210 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns. Touchdown in both of his final games. And he was the leading wide receiver on the team. So I think there's just there's a chance that he could be the leading wide receiver on the team in 2025. And Keep Trade Cut says you can acquire him for a mid-25 second right now. So that's something that really interests me. He was, that was the price that we were having to pay in 2024. Yeah, sign me up. Wide receiver 35. I think there's some big value in that.
Yeah, I gotta absolutely agree with Ricky Pearsall there. Just a real high caliber player who's going to be able to go ballistic next year, and he's going to really rifle through the opposition and be a bulletproof prospect. Ali, how do you like that? Count the puns if you're listening at home. I tried to get a few in there. I was going full clip.
That was great. Yeah, but we're gonna end there because I could reel off some bad ones. But before we do that, we're gonna move into an interesting section. So we've been tasked with our Dynasty Wildcard buy. So obviously we are called the Wildcard. So we're gonna mix it up and try and find a buy outside the top 50 of their positions. So actually, we've both chosen a wide receiver. Absolutely love both of these, Mag. So who is your Wildcard buy for the wide receiver position?
Well, this is an emotional pick as well, Ali, because as we know, the Fantasy Wildcard Rewind show had its last episode, and for those who aren't aware, the show actually had a big name sponsor that has actually been passed over to us, I believe now, Ali, at the Dynasty Show, and that is none other than wide receiver 52, Rashid Shaheed, who looked absolutely great last season before his injury. I don't know what the hell he's doing all the way down there. He's got no business to be down at wide receiver 52. He's only 26 years old. It feels like he was just getting going whenever this injury sort of struck. The Saints have got a hell of a lot of work to do in a lot of places, so I don't see him being pushed out of the team anytime soon. Give me Rashid Shaheed there at wide receiver 52 all day long. What do you got to pay for? What was Ricky Pearsall? Hold on, let's see. Ali, let's go back. Ricky Pearsall is wide receiver 35, and you can get him for a second. What does that mean? You get Rashid Shaheed for like 2/3? Come on. That's easy. You got to go ahead and take that talent for 2 third-round picks. You kidding me?
Yeah, that's free money right there. 2/3, I think, would probably get that deal done, and it's a no-brainer. I think the Saints, again, bit of an unfashionable team, although to start the season they looked, the offense looked awesome. Chris Olave,
that was right. I forgot about that. Derek Carr was like,
the first few games.
Did they not score a touchdown in their first 20 drives? Something ridiculous like that. We were like, whoa, we're sleeping on the Saints.
Was it week one? It was really early on against the Cowboys where they went into Cowboy Stadium and absolutely annihilated them. And it was like, whoa, what the hell's going on here? But yeah, it was exciting. Obviously, they are in absolute cap hell, so they're not going to be making any big free agent signings. They're going to have to get themselves out via the draft. Chris Olave, I really do like Chris Olave as a wide receiver, but he's struggling, with the injuries, with the concussions. It's not a great situation, and there is some uncertainty there. But Rashid Shaheed, when he was healthy, was a wide receiver one. He was great, absolutely great, and actively winning weeks for your fantasy teams because of all the the touchdowns and the big plays that were going on. So yeah, really like that. I've gone even a little bit deeper. Wide receiver 77 for mine, and this is a guy that nobody's talking about. Didn't even talk about him during the season because he wasn't there.
No,
it was Roman Wilson, the 2024 rookie. Bit of a shame just because personally I took quite a few shares of Roman Wilson because I really did like his route running. Third round draft capital was solid. Like the the landing spot. He was a really good prospect 12 months ago, and actually he was in Daniel Jeremiah's top 50 prospects across all positions. So this is the guy that actually went later than someone like Daniel Jeremiah, thought that he was going to go. He unfortunately had the 2 injuries. One was an ankle injury, was in the very first padded session in preseason, and then he made his way back. He had 5 snaps in week 6 before suffering a hamstring injury, which was that bad that he actually put him on the IR for the season. So not great, but then dig back in as a prospect. He was a big part of that Michigan offense that they won the national championship in 2023. He scored 12 touchdowns that season. I think it was close to 800 yards. They didn't sling it a lot, but when they did, Roman Wilson was a big part of that offense. And yeah, I just think the talk of the offseason is that he's getting back healthy. Looking at the depth chart, it's absolutely laughable, to be honest. You've got George Pickens, which
really is.
A lot of people don't even like George Pickens as a wide receiver. He's entering the final year of his rookie deal. And then it's nobody else. There is nobody there whatsoever. So this Steelers team is going to be interesting heading into the offseason because Najee Harris, his deal is up. They didn't pick up his 5th-year option, or he's not going to be re-signed. There's talk that Russell Wilson is not going to be retained either. Justin Fields is likely gone as well. So there's going to be a lot of turnover on this team. It's unfashionable to say the least. And I think it's one that can only get better going into the future. So Roman Wilson, I mean, what are you paying for him? Probably maybe a 4th-round pick when you're on the clock. Someone that is on IR right now, on deep on someone's roster. So yeah, Roman Wilson, it's basically free to pick him up, and someone that I think could have a role in 2025.
Yeah, I think that's a really nice pick. I mean, he's keeping company over there at Keep Trade Cut with players like Jordan Whittington, like Malik Washington, and guys like that who you just don't really trust as a prospect. Whereas Roman Wilson at least did show you something in college at that great Michigan team. So he's not had a shot yet to show you how good he is. So when you're talking this cheap, wide receiver 77, for a guy that has shown something at least in his college career, yeah, I think you could probably, if you're on the clock, get him for that 4th-round pick where, let's be honest, you're lighting the pick on fire anyway, probably. So why not go out and get someone that you actually like? Unless there's someone in that 4th round in 25 that you really think you're getting a bargain for, why not to swap it out for Roman Wilson?
Yeah, exactly. I'd love to sort of hit on plenty of running backs and take darts on running backs in the later rounds of rookie drafts. But if all your guys are gone, it's just free. It's a free swing. If Roman Wilson doesn't pay off, and he doesn't make then so be it. You've not lost anything.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
And Mags, we are entering the 2-minute warning now, and the game is nearly over. But we have had some juicy dynasty trades sent in this week, and we've got 4 lined up, Mags. I want to pick your smart brains and see which side of this trade you would want and why. So the first one we've got a 12-team Superflex PPR tight end premium. I absolutely love this format. We've got Jamar Chase, winner of the Triple Crown, but not one single vote for Offensive Player of the Year. We've got him and TJ Hawkinson, or we've got the 2025 101, a 26 first, a 27 first, and a 27 second. So you've got 3 first there, you've got a second. Which side of the trade are you on, Mags?
Wow, what an offer. Yeah, that's the ballpark you need if you want Jamar Chase. That's what you need to be throwing at that owner. But with the TJ Hawkinson there, that's a sneaky one, because obviously he didn't have the best season. He's coming off an injury. I still believe TJ Hawkinson's one of the elite tight ends in the league. There aren't many of them. I think he's one of them. It is nice that it is the 1-1. You are getting Ashton Jeanty. Man, I just think Jamar Chase is such a game changer. Like, I think I would still lean the Jamar Chase side there. It is close, but just with these 1st-round picks in 2026, they're so volatile. You don't know where it's going to be. Where is it going to end up? Like 2027 first, 2026 first. If they end up being late round first, you're kicking yourself that you give it up for Jamar Chase. So I need more solid players, solid values in there than just an arbitrary 1st-round pick. So give me Jamar Chase and TJ Hawkinson on that side. Yeah,
I think that's where I lean. I think it is a close one because I have actually been asked this week from somebody else. What someone's coming after my Jamar Chase. What is he worth? And I said the starting point for the offer is 3 firsts, and I'd want one of them to be early. So this is exactly what that is, and it then comes down to how much you value TJ Hawkinson. Is he worth a future second in a tight end premium league? And to me, I think he absolutely is. I think he's still young enough where he could be your tight end one if you've not got one of the top two. After the top 2 tight ends, if someone said, so TJ Hawkinson is my tight end 3 in Dynasty, I'm not going to laugh at him. That's in the bucket that he finds himself in. So I just lean that side, even though I don't like to give up 27 first, because it's so far into the future, and there is a certain Ohio State freshman wide receiver who is pretty incredible, and if that pick ends up being him, that's tough.
I'm telling you something, and don't. This is just for the Dynasty Show, all right? So anyone listening, keep this to your goddamn self. I'm selling all my 26 firsts or 27 firsts as we speak, Ali. I'm getting rid of them. I'm getting as many 2027 because we're going to have Jeremiah Smith. We're going to have Ryan Williams. We're probably going to have Arch Manning in that class. I want as many 2027 firsts as possible. And people at home, you should be doing that as well.
Absolutely agree with that. There's some shows that I listen to, and they're advocating when you're towards the back of the 2025, this rookie draft, sort of from pick 9 to 12, see if you can just get rid of that pick, trade it away for a future first. And I'm thinking, don't trade it for a 26 first, trade it for a 27 first, because I think they're going to be more value, and I think already they're more valuable than 26 first. So love that.
Probably.
The next trade is exactly the same format, different league actually. We've got another pretty big one here. We've got Jalen McMillan. We've got the 101 again this year. We've got a 26 first and a 26 second. Now the big player on the other side is Brian Thomas Jr. and his teammate Tank Bigsby, and a 2025 303. So Mags, I guess it comes down to how high are you on Brian Thomas Jr.?
Yeah, that's a good one. Again, that's pretty good value in there. Jalen McMillan, you'll be sort of more able to speak about him. The only thing I can tell you about him was I didn't understand why Jalen Polk was getting more hype than Jalen McMillan coming out of college, when Jalen McMillan was clearly the better receiver. And that showed at Washington whenever he was the number 2 guy behind Rome Odunze, and Jalen Polk was just the 3rd guy on the team and not really used as much as McMillan or Odunze. So I do like McMillan as a piece. Ashton Jeanty is an elite piece that you can get for your team. And again, the 26 first is nice. 26 seconds, fine. That will do. Man, I'm leaning the Ashton Jeanty side here. I think Jeanty and Brian Thomas Jr. are close enough in value that I'll just take the other value on top of that as well.
Yeah, I'm on that side as well, Mags. I think obviously Ashton Jeanty, to me, I don't know why enough people aren't talking as him in the same bucket as B.J. Robinson as a prospect. I think he's right up there. I absolutely love Brian Thomas Jr. I think he deserves to be where he is in Dynasty. But Jalen McMillan, he came on well towards the end of the season. I do think that we're going to re-sign Chris Godwin, so he's going to fall to the wide receiver 3 on the team. But the fact you've got that in your back pocket, a first and a future first and second, there's a lot of capital there to play with. And you've got the 101. You don't even have to take Jeanty if you don't want to. You trade back. Someone will pay up a lot of money for Ashton Jeanty this year. Yeah. So, give me that side. But, again, another close one. This next one, Mags, is not close for me, but we'll see if it's close for you. It's a 12-team league. It's super flex. Don't know the rest of the format, but it's a smaller one. Jalen Hurts for CJ Stroud and the 108. Where do you stand on this one?
Yeah. Well, I hope we're in agreement, but especially after I just watched Jalen Hurts completely crush my Kansas City Chiefs. His stock is certainly rising and continues to. Jalen Hurts is one of the most consistent quarterbacks, just with that tush push and those rushing touchdowns that he's getting. That's an easy one for me. Give me Jalen Hurts all day long. I've said it on the show before, Ali, but my favorite trade I made this time last year, maybe just a few weeks later, was during the CJ Stroud hype when he hit that #1 overall player on Keep Trade Cut. I swapped out, and this doesn't seem like a real trade, but I promise you it was at the time. I got CJ Stroud plus giving away Zamir White on the other side, who was hyped up to be the next starting running back because he had a big week 18. On the other hand, I got Jalen Hurts coming to me and Devon get the tables, Achan as well. An epic trade that helped me win the league, Ali. So delighted with that. So yeah, give me Jalen Hurts easily. I hope that's what you have as well, Ali, right?
Yeah, you're a smart guy, Mags. I knew you weren't going to let me down. This is Jalen Hurts. I think there was a lot of talk about Jalen Hurts as an actual NFL quarterback. Obviously, fantasy-wise, he's top 5 every year when he plays. You know, with the rushing touchdowns, they're insane. He's got that It's going to be continued into the future. It was all about could he get the Philadelphia Eagles over the top, and you obviously saw the other night in the Super Bowl he was able to do that. Yeah. You know, the one pick, but other than that, I thought he played a great game. So I think for me, and actually I'm going to mention my best ever trade, which was when there was a lot of doubts about Jalen Hurts when he started up as the starting quarterback of the Eagles. I traded away Justin Herbert, who I think was quarterback 2, for Jalen Hurts, who was probably about quarterback 18 at the time. Just Jalen Hurts and Justin Jefferson for my Justin Herbert.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's worked out quite nicely for you there, Ali. That's a good, yeah.
Yeah. When I talk about that now, it's just that league can't be serious. That should have been vetoed. But at the time, you know, Justin Herbert, he just had his rookie year. He was amazing in that year 1, and Jalen Hurts was just starting out with all the question marks. So yeah, that was a good one, and I think he's still someone that I'm interested in buying, Jalen Hurts, even though I own him in so many places. I just think that consistency he gives you is right up there. So a final trade of tonight. This is another 12-team league, but this is one quarterback. We don't talk about one quarterback very often. Yeah. There's no quarterbacks involved in this, but it obviously might influence the picks. So we've got Malik Neighbors and Cedric Tillman for previously mentioned Marvin Harrison Jr., wide receiver 11, plus a 26 first, a 26 second, and a 27 second. So this comes down to how big is the gap for you between Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr.?
This is good. Like, this is very, very interesting trade. I spoke earlier about using Brian Thomas Jr. as a comparison here, and there was no debate between Marvin Harrison Jr. and Brian Thomas Jr. There was some debate between Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Neighbors coming out because they were both considered these super elite guys. Even on this show, I think I said, or you said, Ali, one of us said, it wouldn't shock us at all if Malik Neighbors ends up being the better fantasy football player here than Marvin Harrison Jr. just because of the explosive nature of his game. Man, this is one I would be like, if I had it 10 times, I would take 5 one side and 5 the other. I've given Marvin Harrison Jr. enough love in this show. Give me that Malik Neighbors side because of the volatility of those 2026 picks. Not really sure what kind of talent is going to be there in 26, to be honest. Give me Malik Neighbors, who's shown me he can be a truly elite wide receiver for your fantasy team.
Yeah, with Daniel Jones. So, you know, they're looking at upgrading their quarterback position this offseason. If they get one of the top two rookies, I really like that situation for the Giants. I really like perhaps even Sam Darnold. I know we talked about selling him on the last show. But I think for Malik Neighbors, you know, I'd like that veteran to come in that's done well this year. And yeah, I quite like Cedric Tillman as well as a sort of a sneaky wide receiver 3-4 on a dynasty team. Someone that really looked good towards the back end of last year in that Browns offense that was slinging it with Jameis. Yeah, give me that side. Although, you know, I would happily take either side here. And, you know, if someone said I've traded away Malik Neighbors for Marvin Harrison Jr. first and 2 seconds. That's fine, you know. I could easily see these being closer in value come next off season, or heading towards the season. They could easily be closer in value than they are right now. So yeah, a real close one there. But yeah, I'll side with Neighbors on this one.
Ali, can you just tell, before you wrap, can you just tell everyone, listen, where can they put these trades in? Where can they find us so they can ask us these brilliant trade questions?
Exactly, Max. So yeah, hit us up at the Wildcard Dynasty Twitter page. I'll be putting out a tweet every week, asking for your dynasty trades that you've received in your inbox, maybe one that you're thinking about making a move. Just hit me up, hit you up, Mags, and yeah, send in any of your trades, and we'll happily review them. And yeah, give us our opinion, because we're not usually wrong about these, Mags, are we?
Never. Not happened. Not yet.
No, we were wrong once or twice when Kev was on the show, but he's left us. So everyone has answered 100% correctly, or your money back.
Yep.
and with that is the end of tonight's show. Mags, have you got any takeaways? Is there anyone from tonight's show who you're particularly interested in going out and buying?
Man, I'm going to practice what I preach. I'm going to see by the end of the day if I can get me another Josh Allen share. How about that?
Oh, I would absolutely love that, Max. Perhaps you could trade for Josh Allen, and we'll review your trade on next week's show. That will be a good one. I think mine's just going to be Ricky Pearsall. I didn't quite believe my eyes when I saw wide receiver 35. I think that's far too low, and I think once Debo gets traded away, once we get more news about Ayuk, he's not going to be ready for the start of the season, and blah blah blah. His value is going to rise automatically. So yeah, give me some Ricky. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to follow us and subscribe on X and at YouTube, because we're trying to push the YouTube channel. So do give us a like and follow, and give us a comment about our dynasty buys and who is your biggest dynasty buy this offseason. So yeah, join us for our show every single Wednesday. Thank you once again. And remember, when you have the wild cards, you have the power to change the game.